swing to music that make you wanna swing. Dance all night until the dawn. That's where jazz was born. In New Orleans, they do their thing. They love to dance, they love to swing. Finger popping, Lindy Hop, and they does the razzmatazz. In New Orleans, we call that jazz. On Bourbon Street, you get to meet folks from everywhere. Dancing, dining on red wings and rice, fried chicken, gumbo, that's worth the price. Come on down, have a ball in the city that's got it all. Do your thing, have your fling in the city where jazz was king. In New Orleans where jazz was born. Street you get to meet folks from everywhere. Dancing, dining on red beans and rice, fried chicken, gumbo, that's worth the price. So come on down and have a ball in the city that's got it all. Do your thing, have your fling in the city where jazz is king. In New Orleans. In New Orleans, in New Orleans where jazz was born. New Orleans where jazz was born.
In New Orleans where jazz was born, Miss Norma Miller, down in New Orleans from her album Swingin' Love Fest, alongside the Billy Bro Swing Orchestra. And welcome everybody, this is Big Daddy and you're watching All That Swing, music, culture and history of the 30s and the 40s. I am the radio host, I'm a band leader, bass player, MC, DJ, historian, writer. I'm here to spread the swing music all around the world if possible. By the way, let's get down and I'll do the best I can to entertain you for the next hour while listening to known songs or unusual swinging songs. The main focus is on the Swing Craze, but we will move from the early 900 till nowadays in order to have a wider side from the roots of jazz to the evolution of swing, music and dance. This particular program that you will listen for 36 episodes is part of the Swing European Network project financed by the European Union. The Italian Swing Dance Academy, who I am a board member, represents Italy in this 3-year project that has 13 partners from 11 different European countries and whose main focus is on the artist mobility in Europe. And now let's get started. The episode number 33 with the great Andy Kirk Orchestra, The Clouds of Joy, and Take It and Get It, 1942. Hup.
Boys, take it and get. 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 Solid, man. I got it. and gone.
Yes, take it and get. Andy Kirk and his 12 Clouds of Joy, 1942. So the band has just lost on the way Mary Lou Williams on piano, but in the meantime has gained Our McGee on trumpet, Big Al Sears on the tenor sax, Floyd Smith on guitar that we heard at the beginning of the song, and this is a great swinging song going toward the rhythm and blues. And talking about rhythm and blues, let's hear something from the Mighty Blue Kings from Chicago, a band that was formed in 1995 and was out with the first record on 1997. And the leader of the band is called Ron Bonn. And the band disbanded in 1997. In 2001, the band disbanded, and the group disbanded. Ron Bonn in 2010 formed a new band called Ron Bonn and the Mighty Blue Kings. But here they are. Really, it's for me. It's a great. From my point of view, is a great rhythm and blues band. They really thought they're white. They sounds in the right way. So, Baby Drives Me Wild.
Let me tell you about my baby. She makes poor heart skip a beat. Now I love her and don't need maybe. She knocks me off my feet. Ain't never no pushing, shoving. Let me tell you, man, she's the best. I give her all my loving. My baby do the rest. She was hard to find, but now she's mine. I won't let her slip away. If I lose her now, I'll miss her so each and every day. Ain't never no pushing, shoving. Let me tell you, man, she's the best. I give her all my loving. My baby do the rest. Ah, yeah. Every day. Now her lips so sweet and tender, her skin smooth as my style. I wanna stay with her forever. My baby drives me wild.
Yes, the Mighty Blue Kings from their record Meet Me in Uptown, 1997. It was My Baby Drives Me Wild. And now let's step back to 1934 with Clarence Williams. It may say nothing to most of you, but Clarence Williams was a fundamental artists in the swing jazz, early jazz and swing era. Why? Because Clarence Williams, let's see his history. When still younger, Clarence Williams joined a traveling ministry show as a master of ceremonies and singer. Once back in New Orleans, he received some tuition on piano and was by now already composing and arranging. He began working with various vaudeville acts, including short tour in 1917 with W.C. Handy, the already said father of blues. Though Jerry Ron Morton was not disagree. He disagreed with that. At the end of World War I, Clarence Williams moved to Chicago, where he opened a music store. Although the first music publishing company proved a failure, he opened another one in New York. Open up your ears. And this time a great financial success. He began recording and organized countless sessions, mostly in New York. Between 1923 and 1928, Williams worked as a talent scout for the famous OK Record Company. Every major artist in New York recorded for the OK Company thanks to Clarence Williams. So all the records which we can listen now were made, most of them, on the OK Records, for the black artists, of course. So, in addition to these numerous activities, he also fronted his own working bands, mainly in the New York area. In the 30s, Clarence Williams' recordings and compositions sold less well, since he never really jumped aboard the swing train. He nevertheless maintained his publishing firm until selling it for a considerable sum to the Decca Record Company. So, OK Record, Decca Company. The great artists were all there. 1934, Clarence Williams in Sugar Blues.
Everybody's singing the sugar blues. The whole town is ringing. I love my coffee, I love my tea, but the doggone cream turned sour on me. I'm so unhappy and I feel so bad, I could lay me down and die. You can say what you choose, but I'm all confused. I got the sweet sugar blues, more sugar, got the sweet sugar blues.
Sugar Blues 1934, Clarence Williams. It's said that on this recording, it's not sure, but it seems that it was an alto sax player named Louis Jordan, 1934. And now let's move to a white band that is the one of Glenn Miller Orchestra. We're gonna listen to a song recorded in 1939. So, Glenn Miller's success story is based for the main part on the combination of traditional and stylistic swing elements. His rise to fame at the end of the 30s occurred in the historical phase in which jazz for a short period of time leaned heavily on so-called popular music. Glenn Miller defined his own position with the following words: "I don't have a great jazz band and I don't want one." He still managed a quick rise to fame, however, with the typical Glenn Miller sound of his formation. The composer, trombonist, arranger, and band leader Glenn Miller was born on March 1904 in the state of Iowa. And so let's listen to him. The title of the song is Running Wild, 1939. Yes. Glenn Miller Orchestra running wild, and you can't believe it. They did. They really did. So, proceeding about the history of Glenn Miller, it's very interesting, though. Miller worked as a trombonist from 1926 to 1927 with Ben Pollack, a well-known white band of that period. He went a year later to Paul Ash before starting in 1930 an engagement with Red Nichols. Glenn Miller was considered to be a sought-after studio musician and arranger at the beginning of the 30s. Benny Goodman engaged him for recordings, as did Red McKenzie and Miff Moll. Miller wrote numerous arrangements for, amongst others, the Dorsey Brothers and Ray Noble. The Noble period and later his progressive studying under Joseph Schillinger laid the foundation stone for the development of the later Miller sound with 4 saxophones and leading clarinet. Glenn Miller formed his own band in 1937, which broke up, however, a short time later. His follow-up orchestra, which he set up in 1938, existed until 1942 and reached worldwide fame. So that's the orchestra we've been listening to with Running Wild. Moonlight Serenade became a million seller and reached Allied propaganda radio station in the months before his death. That this album was specially designed for German public was made clear by the insert caption from the Weinberger. Apart from that, Johnny Desmond sang "Lang ist es und weit zurück" and "Mein Herz sagt mir" in German. Glenn Miller's widow engaged once again McKinley for a period of 9 years, from 1955 as leader of the follow-up group, but Buddy DeFranco had this position from 1966 until 1971. But before Buddy DeFranco, there was, for a short period, was there another Italo-American pianist and big band director that I will tell you the name later now. Okay, it's the one who composed Peter Gunn Team, the one who composed Baby Elephant Walk, the one who composed the Pink Panther team, and another one who played in the Glenn Miller Orchestra was another Italo-American from the same area, this area where I live, the Abruzzo in Italy, where Harry Mancini was the director I was telling about. Harry Mancini was the one. The other one was the other one was a trumpet player that is still alive. This trumpet player, Ray Anthony from the same area, from Abruzzo, as well as many other great artists like Perry Como, like Dean Martin, Alan Dale in the 50s. Okay, and now let's meet a new band. This is a modern band. The name is Criticizers Blue Rhythm Band. They made an album in 2009, Chasing the Blues, and they write down on the album, Criticizers Blue Rhythm Band is one of only a few big bands in the country, USA, focused solely on the music of the swing era. Let's hear this band, the song that gives the name to the record, Chasing the Blues. Yes, from the USA, Kreizer's Blue Rhythm Band, Chasing the Blues. Great swing, indeed. So now, let's proceed with some history and culture, reading the book Swingin' at the Savoy by Miss Norma Miller, the memoir of a jazz dancer. She wrote it in 1996, the very first book about Lindy Hop and the future of the Lindy Hop. So she was back on the previous episode. We were reading about her in Vietnam in the 70s. So she says, back in Los Angeles, I returned to the Redd Foxx Club. I was happy to be at home in the States. I loved being involved with Redd and with comedy. No matter how bad things got, people were always laughing. I started reading everything I could find on comedy, especially on black comics. In 1974, I conceived the idea of a book. Redd and I collaborated and we developed the Redd Foxx Encyclopedia of Humor. While doing the research and writing the book, I continued performing as a comic. So, that's what she wrote on the book. But she told me that she did all the work. There was no internet at the time. It was 1974. The book was out 3 years later. It's a great, great book. It deserves to be bought, if you can find a copy. In 1977, I accompanied Redd to Las Vegas, where I opened his show at the Hacienda Hotel. Soon after our book was completed and published, I was thrilled. Redd had approved the details of the project as they had come up, but had not wanted to be involved in the actual writing. So, nonetheless, I was sure that he, too, would be thrilled now that the project was completed. One afternoon, when I was at the mall, I visited Dalton's bookstore. There it was, the Redd Foxx Encyclopedia of Humor, in front of the display window. I couldn't wait to tell Redd and run to a pay telephone. When he answered, I told him how fabulous it was. I was at the mall and our book was displayed right in the front window. His reaction nearly knocked me over. He said it had to be taken down right away. I thought he'd lost his mind. Then he told me that he hated the cover, of which he had approved, and he wanted it off the shelves. He told me to take care of it and hung up. I stood there in shock. I couldn't believe what he had said. After all that work, how could he say such a thing? Later, I learned that one of Redd's friends, Slappy, had put the idea into his head that I was going to make a fortune from his name and that he wouldn't get his share of it. It ended sadly, and I was very disappointed. I decided to stay on in Las Vegas. Things had changed a great deal since the early days when I had played there, and there were plenty of projects for me. One of my favorite productions was Let Me Off Uptown with Doris Troy, Bobby Wade, and Valerie Jackson. In 1982, I returned to New York and Mama, healthy, sexless, still single, and broke. Wow, that was a bad hit, a bad trick from Redd Foxx. Norma was always talking about that. She was there, the book was there, she's been working on it, making researches in the public libraries, and it took 3 years. And the book is fantastic. The book, I can tell you, the book is fantastic. Poor Norma. Okay, let's jump back to 1934 with the Mills Blue Brothers. Yes, Mills Blue Rhythm Band, sorry. Mills Blue Rhythm Band led by Lucky Miller. The name of the song is African Lullaby. Yes, yes, the Mills Blue Rhythm, and you can hear the influences of the jungle music that came from the Cotton Club. In fact, this band was intended to sub Duke Ellington or Count Basie, so it was a great second line band. Though it was a great band anyway. So African Lullaby, 1934, and Lucky Millinder was just entered as a frontman, coming back from Europe with another group. So he was fronting until 1938. He was fronting the Mills Blue Rhythm. Now let's listen to another great band, the one of Teddy Hill, drummer, trumpet player, tenor sax player, and he went to Europe in 1937, right after entering the Cotton Club and having residencies at the Savoy Ballroom, and it was very, very estimated by all the dancers, as Norma Miller used to say to me. But in 1940, he quit with the music, with live music for himself, and started as a manager at Minton's Playhouse until 1969. And that place was the cradle of the bebop. So now let's listen to The Love Bug Will Bite You, 1937, Teddy Hill and his orchestra.
The love bug will bite you if you don't watch out.
Will bite you if you don't watch out. If he ever bites you, then you sing and shout. That's what love is all about. The love bug will bite you if you don't watch out. If he ever bites you, then you sing and shout.
I've got you under my skin again. Da 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 da.
That's what love is all about. You can't sleep, you can't eat, you go crazy. You la-di-da-di-do all day. If someone wants to know why you're crazy, you'll answer, what'll I do-do-do? What-de-da-da. The love bug will bite you if you don't watch out. If he ever bites you, then you sing and shout. You go da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
Whoa, baby.
That's what love's about.
Yes, All That Swing by Big Daddy, music culture on history of the 30s and the 40s, and it was Teddy Hill and his orchestra, 1937, The Love Bug Will Bite You. And now let's jump to 2002 with a band that came from the neo-swing period as well, though it's an Italian band, so you should all know the Italian Billy Bros Swing Orchestra, that it's my orchestra. The band has been recording and playing on stage alongside Miss Norma Miller for 4 years. And back in 2002, the band was more than a swing orchestra, was a jumping orchestra, and the record that was out on that year was The Wild Party. Now we're going to listen to a funny song that is tribute to the great Italian artist Fred Buscaglione, the king of shuffle, and the name of the song is 10 O'Clock Jump.
Why don't you come with me tonight at 10 o'clock? Why don't you come with me tonight at 10 o'clock? We're gonna drink no gin, no, we're gonna dance some rock. We're gonna rock, we're gonna roll. Come on, rock, come on, roll. We're gonna J-U-M-P. Jump, 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 jump. At 10 o'clock. Why don't you come with me tonight at 10 o'clock? We're gonna drink no gin, no, we're gonna dance and rock. Yeah, we're gonna rock, we're gonna roll. Come on, the rock, come on, the roll. We're gonna J-U-M-P. Jump, 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 jump.
Yes, the Belly Bros Jumping Orchestra. 10 O'Clock Jump, 2002, from the record The Wild Party. And now let's go back to the Swing Craze era. The song we're gonna listen to is, the title of the song is something that makes me laugh, because it was something that Norma Miller used to say when something was really good and she dug it, it was a good deal. So this is Benny Carter, great musician and arranger. He was with Fletcher Henderson, he was with McKinney Cotton Picker, he was with Chick Webb and stole the guys from him and formed his own band, as he used to do in the years later even. But anyway, he was a great player. Let's hear 1945, A Good Deal.
The Hepcats have a new saying when everything's okay. Instead of saying solid old man, why, this is what they say. A good deal is what the cats in Harlem say. A good deal whenever they are feeling gay, when they can't conceal how great they feel, they shout out loud, it's a very good deal, a good deal. It started on Jarvis Road, a good deal. You hear it everywhere you go. Why, it's the corny steel for the latest spiel. And you can bet your life it's a very good deal. Like Groovy Old Man and Murder Jack. Why, it's just a fad that's got every living creature saying it, even mother and dad. A good deal, they're saying it in Hollywood. A good deal, whenever a thing looks good. And when a girl reveals her sex appeal, the wolves all scream, it's a very good deal. Like Groovy Old Man and Murder Jack. Why, it's just a fad that's got every living creature saying it, even mother and dad. And when a girl reveals her sex appeal, the wolves all scream, ow! Why, the wolves all scream, ow, ow! Why, it's a very good deal.
All right, all right. It was 1945, and it was a very good deal. And the wolves scream, "Ow!" when it's a very good deal. So let's proceed with Swingin' It To Savoy by Miss Norma Miller, the Queen of Swing, the one and only Queen of Swing. 1996. There should be a plaque at the side of the Savoy Ballroom to let the future generation know that this is where the great bands had played and the dance was created. And it happened. This is what she wrote in 1996, and it happened a little bit later. Standing where the Savoy had been, recalling the memories of the world that I had once lived in, I felt inspired to record the events that had taken place there. Okay. Sorry, I have to read something before. When I told Mama what I wanted to do, she looked at me as though I was crazy. You got no money, no job, and you want to write a book? You got to be out of your mind. Because she said, Norma, that was she did before. She wrote the book, the Black Humor Encyclopedia, and this is why this book is here, because she was out of her mind. But she had a vision, a clear vision, until the end. Still, I knew the story had to be told, and I also knew that Mama was right. I had to find work, but I wasn't going to forget about the book. It was on my mind all the time as I got back into the swing of things, and I looked up a number of my old dancing associates. One was Al Means. He was teaching Lindy dancing at the Sandra Cameron Dance Center on West 20th Street. His pupils, mostly young white kids who loved the Lindy, were always asking him to bring them uptown, and he finally did. They enjoyed themselves so much that it became a regular thing for them to go uptown on Monday nights. It was great to see a bunch of kids swinging in the old Harlem tradition. I told Al that I was planning a book, and one day he called asking me to meet him at the Sandra Cameron Dance Center. He wanted to introduce me to his manager at the time, Larry Schultz, to talk about the book project. Larry immediately started testing my knowledge of the Lindy Hop. It seemed like a fairly nice guy, so I answered his questions. At one point he put on a swing record and asked me to dance with him. We had a couple of swings, and he was surprised when I said to him, "I'll taught you to swing." "How did you know that?" he asked. "Your swing, with the leg graping out at the side, it's typical Al," I answered. It wasn't long before he knew he was dealing with a veteran of the dance. While we talked, I told him of my plans. We discussed how Al and I had been part of the greatest Lindy Hop team in history. Talking about the old gang, I discovered that he didn't know who Frankie Manning was. "How is that you don't know the greatest Lindy Hop dancer of all time, when he's right here in New York City, working at the post office?" "Well, mister, if you don't know Frankie Manning, you don't know nothing about Lindy." Larry was eager to meet the other Lindy dancers who were still around, so we decided to get the whole gang back together. He wanted to meet Frankie right away, and I promised that the next time we met, Frankie would be there too. Introducing Frankie to Larry Schultz proved to have a major effect on the teaching of the Lindy at the studio. Larry had brought someone with him to the meeting, a chubby, cute fellow with an engaging smile who had a lot of equipment with him. He set up his screen and projector, and then we were introduced. Enter Ernie Smith. He had the most extensive collection of films on black dancing I had ever imagined, many on the Lindy. I couldn't believe it. When he began the showing, I let out a scream. He had my whole life in the Lindy on film. A day at the races, Elsa popping. It was unbelievable. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful moment for Frank and me. It was the first time we had seen the films together, and thanks to Ernie Smith's love of the dance, they were preserved. We discussed Marshall Stern's book Jazz Dance, and the fact that in his chapter on the Savoy and the Lindy, he had overlooked the fact that I was Leon James' partner at the time. He also didn't mention that Frankie Manning and I were in Elsa Poppy. Thanks to Ernie Smith, those films are around today, and the record can be set straight. So that's a story, my friends. That's a story, folks, about the roots or the comeback of the Lindy. I mean, Sandra Cameron Studio. Ernie Smith with the moves recorded. So, as the conversation went on, we learned that Ernie was originally from Pittsburgh, and it was there that he had began to dance the Lindy. He obviously had a real feeling for the contribution of black dancers to the world of swing. It was this meeting that led to my choreographing a show that Larry Schultz produced at the Village Gate in 1984. It was the first time I had formed a new Lindy Hop group. It included my old friend Chaz Young, his dancing partner Debbie Williams, Clyde Wilder, and Amaniea Payne. These were the dancers who began the new version of swing dancing. I brought in the John Hendricks Group, renowned for vocalese, a style of adding words to classic jazz instrumental that John Hendricks created for the Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross trio. It was the music that swings in the bassy manner. And we heard them in two previous episodes, not so long time ago. Go have a look. The show was a decided success. Frankie Manning and Billy Ricker were in the opening night audience, and it gave me the opportunity to get together with my former partners. It was a great reunion, and it was lucky that it happened when it did. Shortly after, Almins became ill. We didn't know how serious it was at the time, but his condition steadily worsened. We lost a dear friend, and the dancers lost a fine teacher. So, okay, this is Those are the roots of the comeback of the Lindy in the 80s. Norma Miller, Swingin' at the Savoy. You have to buy this book. You have to look for it. You have to read it, as well as the following one that was Swing Baby Swing. You have to do it. And I mean it. So now let's listen to Boots and His Buddies, 1935. This was a territorial band from Texas, but was a good one. We will talk about them later on, and let's listen to the song called How Long, Part 1, Boots and His Buddies, 1935. Yes, All That Swing by Big Daddy, a 36 episode program, part of the Swing European Network project, co-financed by the European Union. And I'll be seeing you next month for a new episode. So, take care, keep on swinging, and get hip!